Game 1 of the NBA Finals averaged 8.91 million viewers. It's the least watched Game 1 since 1988, excluding the two COVID-impacted finals in 2020 and 2021. So, again, in terms of the real hoop enjoyers, we already understand, the real hoop enjoyers are enjoying this. However, I do think there is still a separate conversation as to, like, why are ratings this bad? Because that's still not good. I don't like we can talk about our enjoyment, but that's not good for the league. And I do want to ask y'all, like, what do y'all think are the causes of this? Is it NBA marketing? Is there just a bigger
I'll let Seb go
picture?
first based on that
Yeah,
expression.
because
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead, go
I was
ahead.
actually I was actually going to talk about it before he even pressed the question, because I think so much of it is the marketing, and like multiple different ways with the marketing. For one, they only market big town teams. We've been new about this. Like, you have probably outside of, well, even Cleveland, because of LeBron himself, has a better marketing system than Indiana and Oklahoma City. So I would go as far to say these are the two least marketed teams in the entire in the entire NBA. I don't know if there's, maybe the Utah Jazz is lower than that at the moment, but like, these are two. One of these teams is in Oklahoma. The other, Orlando Magic, I would put them in that situation too, but they're in Florida, which makes it, you're going to have a lot of local markets anyway. But Indiana is by far the lowest, and so you're looking at a situation where they just don't want to market locally. They're not going to want to market SGA because of, they even press the issue of like how he gets his buckets, which I think was stupid. Halliburton is notoriously like inconsistent in the regular season, so when he turns into playoff god, they don't really, they have like nothing to work with, so they don't like calling him overrated and like that, which is like a good narrative. But that actually goes into the second point that I'm talking about. So like, the first thing is they just don't market everybody equally as well, especially for a young, high caliber set of all-stars. Like, the floor of the NBA is so high right now. Like,
Yep.
very few, like, the separation between an all-star and just a starter in this league is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Everybody's level
Absolutely.
is way higher. And so, but they're not marketing people like him because LeBron's still around, because Curry's still around. And like Ant, with his big ass personality, is like the first one starting to emerge. Luke is well, he's been emerged, but like, it's still held on by older people. The Embiids, the Giannis's, the Lillards, the Jokic, the LeBron, like whatever. The second issue that we have with this, and this is the much bigger problem, is what I was talking about with sensationalism. The way that the NBA markets to the current group of kids, and you can fact check me on this, the NBA and the Oklahoma City Thunder both tweet out that Kai Cenat was in the building. That's cool. That's fine. But you're not going to get someone who cares about basketball when you constantly push that kind of marketing. If you're TikTok, if you send agent there to do interviews with the people, it's good and it's fine. And I love that for content creator culture, but you're not going to learn anything about enjoying hoops. You're going to learn about characters and narratives like the WWE. That's how this is going to work every time, because people will get invested faster through stories, but they won't stick around for all of basketball. And you're going to have low ratings because of it. So you're going to have really high ratings for like random regular season games when the fucking Mavericks play the Lakers, because you push the narrative so hard on the trade, which obviously it is a big deal, but you're pushing it so hard. And then you're not going to have anything for the final, because the two best teams the entire year didn't have anything go on but being consistent. So the NBA has to figure out, a great example of this is like the NFL. The NFL's had some of its best year. I think sports across the board have had their best years. Like, this is some of the most athletic, competitive shit we've ever seen, probably the past 4 years. The NFL has done a great job of, and granted, they had their GOAT retire, so they had the ability to change the story that they were telling. But they've had this great opportunity where it's like Lamar, Pat, Josh, Joe Burrow, and like all these young guys are all coming at the same time. They're having like a magic bird renaissance, but at the same time, they're having all these great teams still battle it out. There's no one superstar shining besides the Kansas City Chiefs, but they lost this year, so it makes it a little bit easier. You go into like the NHL, they had a fantastic one this year, even though the Florida Panthers are on they just keep fucking winning. They had a fantastic year with Ovechkin chasing Gretzky's goal record. They had Will McDavid make it past a certain area of the playoffs. Like, they're pushing old and new and focusing on the sport. Baseball with Ohtani and Judge, they're both having fantastic years, but you're having like PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong having a fantastic MVP caliber year. He suddenly found power when he was a stolen bases kind of guy. You need to focus on the sport. You need to give credit to multiple players, multiple ways, and like not just focus on who's showing up to the game and what they can contentify around the game, because no one's going to give a fuck when the actual game starts.
I think one thing I've gotten from the NBA, also as a person like working on a platform that obviously has NBA rights, is like that. I think the way the NBA markets its product is very YouTube like, in the sense that pushing the Knicks, pushing LeBron, pushing Curry, pushing the Lakers is their version of the easy 1 out of 10. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Because even on the on playback, I'm telling you right now, the reality is the Lakers not being in the finals and the Knicks not being in the finals was bad.
Yep.
For ratings, for activity, and all. Like, that's just the reality of it. But I think the way that they've gone about it is because for years and years and years they have relied on these easy 1 out of 10s. They didn't focus on those 6, 7 out of 10s that built personalities, built your brand up, built up the stuff that your core audience will care about. And now that it's time for that, the 6 and 7 out of 10s to become the face of your fucking brand, that this is what you get. This is what you get. Everyone is still focused on wanting to see Curry and LeBron and all these people in the finals. And the national media, your media partners being a part of that terrible narrative as well, is like crazy to me. I find it crazy that they hold independent NBA content creators to higher standards than their actual NBA partners that they spend like millions of dollars to. Like, I find that insane. I swear, like, NBA creators, the ones that they choose to partner with are on like a tighter leash than fucking Kenny Smith and Shaquille O'Neal on TNT, when they're getting paid $10-20 million a year to talk on the sport. But they can go on national TV and just literally, one, they don't even watch the game, and two, just constantly shit on the current product. Talking about, oh, this player isn't that good. He's not that good. He's not built like that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
From a partner, a media partner of the NBA, to be talking like that.
Yeah, I think right now the reason that this game could even do so badly, and why we're at this point, even though basketball, just friendly reminder, everybody, basketball is cooking right now, but it just in terms of numbers and performance, is the NBA is in a bit of a recovery mode. I think it's slowly but surely realizing a lot of stuff that they fucked up, and they're trying to fix these things. For example, you guys have already talked about teams and players. I think that they do pick people. They just pick the wrong ones. And that's why they do need to talk about everybody. They could have bet their life that the Lakers would have had a deeper postseason. They could have bet their soul on it. Maybe not making the finals. They maybe had the Knicks or Boston doing it again. But they did not have Indiana doing it, which is why you didn't get a lot of indie coverage. And they certainly didn't have LeBron and Luka getting packed up quick as hell. All of the, Bezos talk about a 1 out of 10, all of the Luka trade conversation videos, when it happened, even we partook in that. But at some point, all right, we talking about something else. Or we moving on. You go to ESPN page, FS1 page, whatever. It was Luka in the Lakers jersey at least twice a week, minimum. Every week, twice a week. Let's talk about the Lakers. Let's talk about Luka and LeBron. And I say that as a Lakers fan, dog. And I was sitting there like, yo, dude, we the 5 center. This ain't gonna last that long. But regardless, and what sucks is if they talk about everybody that we find, or even if they just got the right young players right. It like comparing it to the NFL, I'm sorry to do that. I know some of my chat hates when I do that. But like, I'm a big football fan. The NFL, they'll boost up anybody and be wrong about it before they don't boost up somebody. They'll sit there and tell you, oh yeah, JD5 a dog. And if it works out, told you he's good. CJ Stroud, he had a sophomore slump-ish year right now, but they're not bashing him. They're not saying he's a fraud. Justin Herbert, again, Twitter may be doing the most, but on television, they're not calling him a fraud or nothing like that. They're just not putting him in the 4. Speaking of the 4, they were quick to anoint Joe Burrow. They were quick to anoint Lamar Jackson, all these other things. But with the NBA, it's like you got to pass this trials and tribulation with Shaq specifically. You got to be G4 classified, all of that other stuff just to be given respect. They only respect like LeBron and Curry and all these other guys off rip. And it's sad to say, but as a person I grew up with inside the NBA, I see when people say, I'm glad they're leaving. I'm like, I can see that. I can see why you're happy they're gone. It's just unfortunate. I wish they would talk about everybody, but that's not realistic. So I just want them to at least talk about things properly versus trying to make people fall in love with stuff if the sport isn't rigged. If you're gonna fucking rig the sport, fine, fuck it, rig it. Make sure the Lakers make the finals. Make sure that the Celtics match up against the Lakers and stuff. But if you're not gonna rig the fucking sport and you're gonna push a bunch of players that might genuinely not make the finals, what are we doing?
I have heard through the grapevine, and this is also partially why, like, the NBA is as good of a content league as it is, like, for content creators, that the NBA, like, actively encourages these hot takes and these narrative driven platforms, because in their eyes, any discussion, as long as it gets the timeline going, is good discussion for them. That's the way they're looking at it. But just think about it, like, we're talking about marketing, and we've all done brand deals. We understand the value of brand deals for, for creators, for the brands and all of that. Would y'all ever pay someone to talk shit about the thing that you're paying them? Like, this is just, I feel like that's not even marketing 101. That's marketing 01. What the fuck? I'm not paying you to talk shit about my product. What the fuck? And if that's the case, we're cutting off the brand deal and possibly, like, cutting off compensation, because this was not a part of the deal.
I remember
Again,
we
for
had this
some
conversation.
reason,
Oh, my fault.
yeah, no, but just like, for some reason, when it comes to the NBA, the people they're paying the most get off the craziest shit. Like, that just makes no sense to me. But
Yeah, I was adding on to your thing. I was gonna ask Tevin about a conversation that we had with Omar and Damo about if you're the NBA, would you have told them, hey, you can't even talk negative? You like it got to a point where we were arguing, should they just kind of force them to either speak positively or not at all? And we had a conversation about, okay, but we want genuine discourse. But at the same time, if you're just genuinely a hater all the goddamn time, shit. Like, God, I don't know what to do with you, man.
I think the biggest issue, and it's such a bigger issue, and I don't even know how you would like focus on something like this, but obviously, like, in every other sport, the sport comes first. Which is, it's crazy that I even have to say that out loud, but, like, the sport always comes first in every other, besides WWE, because it's wrestling entertainment. It is literally entertainment based first. That is the only place that you'll hear the discussions about the narratives happen first. And the NBA is slowly feeding into that side of marketing, which is not good, because the sport, at least as far as we know for the moment, is real. These are real things that are really happening. And so the fact that you're marketing it as if it were like a Real Housewives type sitcom, reality TV type, John, is going to cause problems when you can't make the real life match the reality TV world of it. Because at the end of the day, LeBron may not make the finals. Their team might just not be good enough. And then what the fuck happens when you set up all these plot lines and devices and you're talking about Bronny 54 fucking times a day, and then you have Tyrese Halliburton in the finals? What was that team doing that we didn't know about the entire time, because you decided that this was the way you were going to spin it the whole season? And the greater problem with that is that, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, if you try to have real basketball discourse on the internet, no one's watching that shit because it's boring. It's boring to talk about numbers. It's boring to talk about enjoying someone's pick and roll efficiency rates. It's boring to talk about how good a team is, instead of being like, oh, LeBron's starting to fall off a little bit this year. Those are the easy 1 out of 10s. And the problem is that if you don't do it, we just talked about, if you don't do it, someone else will. And so it doesn't matter if people are loyal to you. It's the mind of the consumer to want to see dramatics. And so we kind of have to look at it's like a you thing. It's like a consumer thing where it's like, can you be disciplined enough for 10 fucking minutes to not fall for sensationalist headlines and articles and NBA shit? Can you be disciplined enough to, like, actually care about the sport so that we can get away from easy feed, drip feed shit, so that you can, like, think about the game for 2 seconds. And this goes well beyond like basketball. This is everything that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you get off TikTok for a little bit to make sure you get your work done today? Can you get off of the YouTube shorts so that you can and it's not like as creators, we have to walk that line between like, do we just constantly throw shit at you to watch to go throughout your day so that you don't have a dose of dopamine, or do we challenge you to like look at this thing that we produced that we care about that might be a little bit boring, but it was made with the intention of like real love, a real passion project towards this thing. And until you can get back to that point with the NBA, which I don't even think they want to do, I think you're right. I think they want the sensationalism to overrun it. You're gonna have problems. Your ratings are going to be skewed. They're going to fluctuate because unless the real life matches the fucked up narrative that you make it, your ratings are going to be all fucked up. This just is what it is.
You at least introduce, because someone said the NBA is entertainment, and I agree. And Tevin stole my point, so I'm just gonna make one on the fly.
My fault, Glenn.
No, you're good. I literally wrote it down, and you said it. I was like, damn, cooked. But no, like that ass. If you the NBA is entertainment, and I'm not gonna tell you that you can't like First Take. I'm not gonna tell you that you can't like LeBron more than everybody else. Okay, duh. That's just how life works. You're gonna like somebody or a team more than others. But at least if you're a person whose job it is to analyze the sport and you're going to brag rap that you're a professional analyzer and stuff, introduce all the characters. Some get less screen time than others, for sure, but introduce all the characters. Hell, Tevin's referenced WWE twice. It even happens in WWE. We just got past Money in the Bank season, where it's the most important time for what I'm about to say happens, which is, hey, gang, any given moment, new character on the screen, deal with it. But at least we know who it is. We don't know who some of these people are. And obviously, me, you, chatter do. But like a casual person is going to be like, who the fuck is Andrew Nimar? Like, who the fuck is this guy in the late of game one hitting hard moves? But everybody else that watches the sport for it, we're like, oh, here go Andrew. Like, oh, here go Andrew with that move again or something like that. So just introduce everybody at least a couple times. Obviously, you got your 1 out of 10s, but introduce everybody and it'd go a long way. But unfortunately, you want to the Lakers in your face. And you want to, who had the biggest signing up? Paul George gets traded, even though he's not doing that much for anybody. And then Embiid talks and Giannis talks and all that stuff. What if Giannis don't make the fucking finals with the Heat? Look, put Giannis on the Heat. Fuck it. And what if they lose? What now? Now we're over here like, damn, I guess we got to watch Pistons finals. Nigga, the Pistons been cool for 4 years. Like, watch the Pistons, man. It's tough.
I think there is a devil's advocate take to be made that like us even tripping about the finals ratings is kind of crazy, because like NBA's marketing just isn't optimized for finals ratings specifically. Like there's a case to be made, and I think Gil's even made this, that like, man, these all these NBA rating conversations do not matter.
They don't,
because the NBA is particularly optimizing for social media success. Which is why they welcome all this engaging content, which is why they welcome Agent Zero and Kai Cenat and all that. And it's also a much more global game than other sports as well. So like, while TV ratings are specifically down, in terms of the engagement and the viewership that the NBA is getting through like all its different avenues, it's still actually a very, very healthy product. It's just not monetizing through directly TV ratings as strong as it used to be, which is possibly a good sign, because, TV is becoming more obsolete by the day. Everyone is being driven towards content and the internet more and stuff like that. So, hey, man, you may have just been wrong all along. And the NBA was playing 4D chess.
Yeah, it's always on the consumer to a little bit of a degree. I don't want to act like it's just the people that are marketing it. Hey, dog, it's your responsibility not to be a fucking pawn. See that the ratings are bad, but you just enjoyed the game and say, "Oh, I guess the game was bad now." That's on you. That's skill issue. So, yeah.
I don't have a point to that, but I do have a point to that. But all I'm gonna say is, do y'all know what the average literacy rate is in the United States? Like, most people read at a 6th grade level.
Oh,
I thought it was 3rd.
No, 20% is 3rd. The median average is 6th grade.
Oh boy.
So I want y'all to know that, like, when I was saying like people need to be disciplined and like attempt to learn and like power through things that are difficult for their mind to comprehend, that's kind of what I mean. Is because if you package everything for the average 6th grade mind, at least on a literate way, and don't even get me started on media literacy, it's probably like 2nd grade for most people. That's all they're ever going to be able to understand. So it's tough to sit there and be like the conversation between, oh, is it okay to package everything for where people are at, or do we challenge them a little bit to be, try to learn a little bit more about media literacy, try to learn a little bit more about marketing, about what is real and what isn't, so that we can give you a better product without having to, make ourselves stupid, or like we can make ratings work in a way that is both professional and fun. So we can have these fun discourse moments and you can still tell me who Jalen Williams is. That actually happened to me, by the way. I was talking about Jalen Williams hooping and somebody was like, who is Jalen Williams? I was like, on the Thunder? And they're like, I watched the Thunder. Who is Jalen Williams? And that's when I knew. That's when I knew.
Yeah, I think for that ideal world to happen, I think the NBA would just have to also accept certain dips and certain things. Like not everything can be a banger.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
So I think this finals right here is actually like necessary for the NBA to take that step.
Yep. It would be perfect if the NBA could, stick to your analogy, take a 10 out of 10 just for authenticity's sake, just for doing your job, crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's. But it's not going to happen. But that's why my final word on the subject is, hey, chatters, commenters, and NBA fans out there, don't ever act like this is an impossible thing we're asking for. We're promoting the NBA and all 30 of its teams and players is not a task that's impossible, hard to do. No. This is almost like this is what they claim to be professional at. This is light work to do. A YouTuber could do this shit, but they don't want to do that because they want the money. So it is what it is.
This is a side tangent. A reality TV show live tweeting about the reality TV show episode releases is mad annoying.
Oh,
that's another side tangent. Let me
Shout
go
out Love Island. Shout out Love Island.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Tevin knows. They be tweeting the live. I haven't even watched it yet, bruh.
I don't watch Love Island, and I'm caught up.
Damn.
Shout out Yelissa.
Why do I know that name? What the fuck? Y'all are right. What the hell? I don't even watch. I've never seen Love Island a day in my life, but I know Yelissa now.
Hey man, because I got spoiled on last night's episode because I wanted to avoid it for one night. I think it's fine to. Y'all can't spoil me for one night. Just leave me one night. But hey.
So Love Island is one of those shows that your girl forced you to watch, but you liked it. Okay.
I think it's actually the opposite. I don't know if I told y'all the story. We were just finding shit to watch last summer. She was asking me, yo, what do you want to watch? I jokingly said, because I don't know, just thought of it randomly. Put on Love Island. We didn't know it was the start of a new season. Binge that shit. Got addicted. So,
you're the 6th grade mind. You fell for it. Fell for it again, award.
Got his ass.
Let me go ahead and read these super chats, and then we can get to hot takes of the week. Asian Moon for $10. Hot take: Luka is this generation's Bron, Steph, KD, because every upcoming and current superstar is compared to Luka, and he is the only superstar to get mentioned for playing bad or good or not at all. Jason Tatum exists.
Oh yeah, that actually doesn't work. As much as Luka is my glorious king and the embodiment of my joy, nah, that happens for a lot of players. It's honestly whoever was last on the screen that happens to.
There is no, y'all were not around in 2003, and it shows.
But I'm wrong for saying that a motherfucker that grew up and saw Bron in a Heat jersey is in my man.
Y'all were not. You did not understand the discourse that was happening with LeBron when he came into the league. Like,
had no idea.
It's an entirely different. Niggas were saying like every game, if it wasn't Jordan level comparisons, it didn't work, and we haven't seen that in a long time because there's nobody that showed up that was a consensus. Number one, like Zion was probably like the closest, and then like he fell out super quickly, and Cooper is like another one that could be in that situation. Is going to fall super quickly. Wembanyama has the possibility to do that, but he had an injury. We'll see how he comes back, and we'll see the situation with that. But even Wembanyama, people are talking about how unique and alien like he was, and he was the future. even they were not saying like, they were like, if this nigga doesn't do, is it Jordan or bust? He is not good enough. That hasn't happened since.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to bring this up earlier. Zion not panning out fucked up a lot of the
They
NBA's
choose the
problems.
wrong names.
Man, it was
They choose an Ant right now, but he just can't make it there. They choose.
No, but I think Zion was the right name to pick during that time. Like,
I
really,
agree.
like
I
put
agree.
a lot of eggs. Like it just seemed like a surefire shot.
Yeah,
but just
he just horny.
They did. They said if Wemby wasn't Hakeem level, he was a bust. Yeah, I'm not no knocking Hakeem. He's one of my favorite players of all time. There's a difference between Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan. I hate to tell you. If Wemby
Even in
is
just perception, you could think Hakeem's better for all you care, but it's just perception of being Michael Jordan versus being Hakeem Olajuwon. It's a difference.
Yeah, there's a different kind of reputation level.
Yeah. All right, JKP for $20. The ratings argument reminds me of AEW, another wrestling company. They will get a lot of shit, but one of the biggest trap cards is always ratings, and they use it to justify being hella biased and bash their product, and it's dumb.
Yeah, I'm not too tapped into wrestling as much as the Keep It a Buckers think, but I do know that AEW is apparently this company that can have fuck you good matches or fuck you gimmicky matches, but everybody shits on it whenever it's time for the ratings to drop or how many people were sitting in the crowd, and nobody really cares about what's going on in the ring. It's kind of like because it's not the WWE, it can't win.
Hype Smello for $5. If you're a fan of the NBA, don't worry about ratings or marketing or anything like that. That's the NBA's job. Enjoy the product.
Retweet.
But then you ask us to have opinions, and okay, if we're just supposed to enjoy the product, you ain't getting Souls and Sage videos.
Ooh.
So what do you want?
22.
What do you
want? Counter.
What do you want?
What do you want? Look at you now.
But I think it's the people that like they're not even trying to create content, but they're still bitching. Like, what are you bitching about? Respectfully, like.
True.
Nick Soul for $10. Marketing is dookie. NBA sub and half of the games are only watchable and some is commentary. YouTube TV is only so much. Back then was broadcasted through cable. Now it's streamed different platforms.
NBA Red Zone should have existed 10 years ago minimum. This is unbelievable.
I have a question actually. Has there ever been a serious place for like NBA discourse, like by the numbers and like by the systems that NBA teams have? Because like in the NFL, there's a lot of places where they talk about how the schemes work. Like, oh, like even during a game, they'll be like this, like the Manning brothers, for an example. They're like, oh, this is why this play worked. Yep, he ran this. This is what the play is called. So the information was like pristine, and it's fun on top of it. Has there ever been before like Big Man in the Three or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, JJ Redick.
JJ Redick was on. Before that, has there ever been like? Have they even talked about it? Like, thinking basketball, and that was like a couple of years ago.
The closest one that I can think of was the Kobe series that ESPN had. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, and this is all post 2016. Yeah. So we haven't had a show or a series or anything that has broken down why NBA games work the way they do, and then wonder why 30, 50, 70 odd years later, people don't understand why these plays are good. And I get it. NBA is a visual, like basketball is a visual sport. You can see a nigga's ankles get broken, but you don't understand why Steph Curry is a better off-ball player than on-ball, and which is a crazy thing to say, right? It's like, oh, it's crazy. Steph Curry should always have the ball in his hands, but it's like, no, he's the best off-ball player to ever exist, and I could show you so much footage that goes behind that, and people wouldn't even know about it. So yeah, that there's another piece of marketing that's fucked up.
Yeah. Nick Soul with a couple more super chats. Shout out to Nick. For $5. Side note, because I looked this up just now, Wade in 2006 finals, kid you not, averaged 18.3 free throws. Oh my god. People walking to free throws always happen.
Oh.
And this was another super chat. Well, I'm reading in reverse order. The first super chat he sent was, people cry about SGA with free throws, but bro only averaged 9 free throw attempts this year. 2006 Wade and 2000 AI averaged 11 free throws back then. It always happened.
There's a reason why people care more about free throw merchants now, and that's because of the pace of the game and the fact that people get a lot less fouls by going to the basket. It's just a 3-point game now, whereas back then it was back to the basket, and so you saw a lot more fouls and a lot more free throws because it didn't impact the score of the game because it was low scoring. So you saw a lot of mid-range shit and a lot of like hack-a-shack stuff happen. So free throws were way more common. Games were longer and you scored less. But now the pace is so fast that anytime you have to see the slog of 2 free throws, it's that much more poignant. Like it looks like it's taking longer when in reality it's the opposite. The game's so much faster that a free throw looks slow.
So TikTok has ruined basketball.
Now I'm saying,
Yeah.